Hi everyone, so today I'll be talking about how to divide using single digit numbers. And division is a very important skill that you will need in your everyday life, and it is very beneficial when you are trying to do easy, quick mathematical calculations in your head. So let's start off with talking about what is division. So, division is the action of separating something into parts, or the process of something being separated into several different parts. And so, here's a visual guide on how, in helping you how to visualize how to divide or how something or some parts of a whole are being separated and how many parts we are making and how many parts are in that category and the whole situation between how to divide and what is being done when you are dividing. So here I have 12 stars, and these 12 stars are just organized very nicely in a linear format. And so these 12 stars, I want to divide these 12 stars into 4 parts. When I say I want to divide 12 stars into 4 parts, I'm hoping that each part that I divide into, in my 12 stars, into, has the equal number of stars in that part. So my 12 stars, as you can see, I've taken a pink and I've guided you locating my 4 parts, and each part has the exact same number of stars in that part. And if we had, let's say, 13 stars, there will be one left over in this part because we wanted to divide into 4 equal parts, and we cannot do that with an extra star just laying there, and I'll get more into that later on in the video. So now I'm showing you another example of the exact same 12 stars, except those 12 stars are just being separated into 3 parts. So, like I mentioned before, we want these 12 stars to be separated into 4 parts, except we want the exact same number of stars in these 3 parts that I'm using as a different example. In this case, we have 4 stars in each part, making us have an equal number of stars in each part and making everything okay with no remainder or no stars left over. If I change up the question and say here are 2 extra stars, making this later becoming 14 stars because we added 2. Now, if I say, oh, I'd like to make these stars into, let's say, yes, okay, yeah, 3 parts. It will not work because these 2 stars will be left over and it will stay as it is. These 2 stars will not be a part of this array. They will not be inside any of these parts because there will not be an equal number of stars in each part anymore, and that is not allowed for you to put 1 extra star in my first part and not put it on my third part, because that it just doesn't work that way. You are not equally separating these stars into equal parts, and that just creates a problem in dividing. So now I'm going to move on to the statements and these division statements. So here I'm using the exact same example, as the previous question, and I'm doing 12 parts and dividing these 12 parts by 3. And I would like my final answer to tell me how many equal stars are there in each part. So another way to write this question is to have this symbol, this symbol right here. I'm just going to outline it for you, indicating that these are my 12 parts, and this is how many, 12 stars, oh forgive me, it's 12 stars, and these are how many parts I'd like there to be. So this is just the mathematical format of how you would say this. So number 4, meaning my answer here, is my quotient. Number 3 is my divisor. And number 12 is my dividend. So my divisor is basically the amount of parts I'm dividing my stars by, or my stamps by, or whatever, or my number by. And 12 is a dividend, meaning that is the number that you are going to be separating into parts in the question. And 4 is the amount of equal numbers, the equal number in each part. And so these are just the mathematical terms that you will probably need to know, or if your teacher just states these terms, this is a good way in order for you to know what she or he is talking about. So here is the first example of our first division statement. So over here, using the terminology we just used, 435 is your dividend, and number 3 is your divisor. So you are dividing 435 with 3 parts, and as you know that your quotient, which is going to be located at the top, is how many equal parts you want in each how many equal, let's use the example of stars again. So you have 435 stars, and you want to divide them into 3 parts, and you want to know how many stars equally will be there in each part. The first thing you do, knowing if you have your multiplication table or just know your multiplication table is just in your head, you are going to the first number, and your first number here is number 4. You want to know how many times does number 3 go into number 4. And over here, we know that 3 times 1 is 4. So 3 goes into 4 once. So you put the 1 over there. And now you know that you have to multiply that 3 times 1 is now 3, and you subtract 3 with the 4. So 4 minus 3 will give you 1. You bring down the second number as indicated by this number 3. You need to bring your arrow down and bring that 3 down. So now you have a 13 as you join the 1 and the 3, making it a 13. Now you want to know how many times does the 3 go into 13. And so you know that that is 3 times 4, and 3 times 4 is 12, because you always have to pick the number below the indicative number. And so, let me just get rid of that, yeah. And so, you want to see that okay, let's say we cannot do 3 times 5, because 3 times 5 will give you 15. You cannot do 13 subtracting 15, as that will give you a negative number, and we don't want to go into those details. We want a number smaller than the original number, which is this number. And so we use 3 times 4, which is 12. And when you subtract that, you get 1. And again, the orange arrow indicates that you bring the next number down, which is the 5. And so now this gives you the number 15. See, you have no more numbers left over here. There are no more numbers left. So you are A-okay. And so now you have to see that how many times does my 3 go into 15. And you notice that it goes into 15 5 times. So 3 times 5. Oh, I forgot to indicate this. 3 times 5. This will give you 15 minus 15, which is 0. You have no remainder in this. As in the previous visual I showed you, I added 2 more stars on the 12 stars, giving you 14, and wanting to divide them into 3 parts. I cannot do that because I won't get the equal number of stars. And relating to that example, this is just the mathematical equation. You notice that you have 0 parts left over, or 0 stars in quotation left over. So you have no remainder. You have no stars left over in your question. Another, this is a long question, and in this question, yes, I kind of changed it. I took away the 8 because I realized I did not have enough space. But in this question, we were doing the exact same thing. So you know that 4 goes into 5 once, and I subtracted the 4, giving me a 1, putting the 3 down again, and then 4 times 3 gives me 12, subtracting that, giving me a 1 again, and then I bring down my 6. I bring down my 6, that makes a 16, and we know that, 4 times 4 is 16, and then we subtract that and we get a 0. Some people tend to leave the question like that and be like, oh, okay, I have a 0, no remainder, everything's A-okay. But it's not, because you still have to bring that 9 down. You still need to make sure that every number over here, until you see no more numbers, everything's being brought down. And so you know that you need to bring that 9 down. And so now you have 9. A 0 in front of a number still makes it just that number, so the positive number. So you have that 9 there, and so you know that 4 goes into 9 like 2 times, giving you a remainder. And so you see that 4 times 2, oh, did I even write this down? Oh, I did not write this down. Okay, 2. I'm sorry, so sorry, okay. So 4 times 2 is 8, and so you do 9 minus 8, and you get a 1, and you realize that you have no more numbers left to work with, and so that becomes your remainder. Using the star example again, you still have a remainder. You still have some stars left which cannot be added into your parts because they will not be equal anymore. And here's your last example, the exact same situation, taking your numbers, bringing them down. This one you can just pause the video and maybe look at, take it in, using my previous two examples. In this question, I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm just going to fast forward and skip some of this, and you can read that and use the previous knowledge from the previous examples. And I just like to talk about this part right here. Over here, when we reach, we get a 65 when we subtract our numbers over here, and then we have a 7 right here, giving us 65 minus 63, giving us a 2. Then we also have a 0. This 0 also needs to be brought down. Please do not ignore it. If you ever receive a question like this, you get 20. 7 goes into 20 around 2 times, because it is the 14 we have to look at, and I forgot to put a number here. Oh, I keep doing this. So yes, 2 times, and so 7 times 2 is 14, and I didn't have enough space, so I just brought it over here. So 20 minus 14 will give you 6, and so that becomes your remainder. And just relating it to my previous example about the stars, you still have stars left over. When I'm dividing this very large number into 7 equal parts, I cannot do that because I will have those 6 numbers, those 6 stars remaining, not providing me with the equal amount of stars in each category. So that becomes your remainder. And so now I'm just going to give you a few tips for dividing, and one of them is just keep a multiplication table with you. Now, sometimes your teacher may move a little too fast, and so you might see that you may not be as strong in your multiplication table as you wish you are, but see, sometimes the teacher may move a little too quickly, and that may affect on whether your ability to divide or not. And sometimes you have to think about it in a sense that, okay, I still have to keep going, and performing these division problems with the multiplication table will help you. As you can see, I have a pretty decent example of my division table right here. So 3 times, let's say 2, I just have to, let's see, let me use a highlighter to explain this. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so our 3, I like to multiply my 3 with a 2, so my 2 is here and my 3 is here, and when I can see that this is my, oh no, okay, this was a 6, so let's fix that. So 6 was my, answers. We know that 3 times 2 is 6. So this division table really helps you. And the last tip is just practice. Keep on practicing. You have this multiplication table, and you have these sources which will help you. Just keep dividing, keep multiplying. Use your general knowledge. Never skip a number, and try to understand the concept. Understand that this is your remainder and what it is. And just keep practicing. And that's it for my video on how to divide, and thank you so much for watching.